Hello, Internet friends, and welcome back to the Digital Deep Dive Show with me, Reed Dailey. If you are new around here, the Digital Deep Dive Show is all about showcasing incredible technology and the exceptional people building it, using it, and the impact it has on the middle market. You can listen to the Digital Deep Dive Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, or you can subscribe and read the newsletter on LinkedIn. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and have all the episodes downloaded automatically to your device or get notification via LinkedIn. All right, so let's jump into the summary and talk about what we're going to talk about. So we got a big show today. Snowflake launches their own large language model. X is moving from the small screen to the medium screen. Perplexity raises more money to take on Google. Consumer tech Oura is now available more than ever. Apple readies for what is next. And oh yeah, I'm headed to the West Coast for an incredible roundtable discussion with the folks from Making Sense, team members of mine from CohnReznick, and a packed panel. So let's get into it. Snowflake, if you are less familiar, they are sort of a data lake, if you will, popular over the last 5 to 10 years. I've had a number of team members or friends using it, solutioning it for customers, selling it. So I can't say that I am a user, but I've definitely been on my fair share of demos with it, and I really see the advantage of Snowflake. Obviously, Microsoft did too because they launched Fabric, but we're not talking about Microsoft today. We are talking about Snowflake and their large language model. So the data company announced Arctic, a state-of-the-art large language model uniquely designed to be most open enterprise-grade large language model on the market. And if I was to read between the lines, they wanted to make sure in their press release that the word enterprise was used as much as possible. With its unique mixture of experts, architecture, Arctic delivers top-tier intelligence and unparalleled efficiencies at scale. They went out and quoted that their model takes about 1/8 of the energy or energy consumption compared to similar models. It is optimized for complex enterprises workloads, tapping several industry benchmarks across SQL codes, et cetera, et cetera. So every one of these data centers and data lakes is going to be looking at either building their own large language models or leveraging someone else's. And it's going to just make a lot of new use cases and opportunities for organizations to tap their own data as well as tap available data in the marketplace to make inferences, insights, and build a better mousetrap. And I'm excited to see what Snowflake has launched in details. They've got a summit coming up in June 3rd through 6th in San Francisco. So if you are in the Bay Area, make sure you sign up for the Snowflake Data Cloud Summit. It'll be really interesting to see how they amplify their messaging of building the future together with AI and apps. So our second story is with X moving over to the medium screen. And soon X, formerly Twitter, will have real-time engaging content on your smart TVs via the X TV app. This will be your go-to companion for high-quality immersive entertainment experience on a larger screen, medium-sized screen in my opinion, and you will be able to enjoy and transfer content in real time, or seamlessly they say, from your phones into watching it via the app. One can assume this will be fantastic for the SMB and individual content creators. You'll be able to showcase longer form content, and then from a consumer standpoint, you'll be able to consume it beyond just your app on your phone. Obviously, you could have beamed it up to your TV, but it will be a more elegant experience. My guess is that Linda and her team will be going after content exclusive to X and possibly even building their own TV series. That's just a hypothesis. I also think it, for individual contributors who are not sort of tied to a TV series, think almost like YouTubers, I think it will give them a different channel to publish their content besides over on YouTube. And from X's standpoint, it will give greater opportunity for advertise placement both at the beginning, middle, and end of that content. So it will be interesting to see the rollout of their X TV app and how they continue to move X from a tweeting platform to a super app. Next up is Perplexity. And this is an AI search engine startup that is a hot property at the moment. They've learned that they've recently raised another $250 million. So they're somewhere between a $2.5 billion and $3 billion market value. And so what is Perplexity, if you're less familiar? It is an AI-powered Swiss Army knife, their words, not mine, for information discovery and curiosity. It's not just about answering questions, it's about empowering you to do more, whether you're looking for summarized content, exploring new topics, or getting a little creative. So when I was looking into Perplexity and I hadn't used their solution prior to kind of crafting this, I got to try it out a little bit, and it does provide a more immersive experience than the basic ChatGPT 3.5, which is the free version. I have to say it's pretty similar to what I've seen with Gemini. One can assume that many of these tech companies are looking, across the aisle over their shoulder at what their competitors are doing. But anytime that you've had such an, established brand with, Google being the preeminent player in the search space, it'll be interesting to see how a new company kind of tackles, what's next. The one thing that I did kind of sort of shake my head is that all of these search engines and AI engines are all very much looking the same, and they're all the same, operating in the same form factor, i.e. my phone, my laptop, or my computer. And I'd love to see sort of different ways to interact with that, from an auditory standpoint, a visual standpoint, etc. This story is mostly to raise awareness to Perplexity, but I did hear that the human AI pin sort of missed the mark in terms of the initial launch, and I was really looking forward to that device and trying to get my hands on it. And I think if you could have, sort of a different form factor from an auditory or visual standpoint working with large language models and AI, it would be a pretty fantastic one to punch. So if you are looking for a different experience beyond Google, or one of the other large language models, I highly recommend trying out Perplexity. Let me know what you think in the show notes. Next up, we're talking about consumer tech, which is all about the Oura ring. If you're less familiar with the Oura ring, it is basically a ring that looks kind of like, in my opinion, a male wedding ring. Obviously, they've got different metal finishes, so you can go kind of more masculine or feminine. And the idea is that it can track and monitor everything from your energy, your recovery, and they have light predictions in terms of health or issue risks based on the heat of your body and your heart rate. Now, a lot of people have used Fitbits over the years. I wear an Apple Watch most of the day. You have the Whoop, that is a band for your wrist or your arm, and Oura just gives you a different experience on your finger. I've never seen one or I shouldn't say I've never seen one. I've never had one on, but I've tracked Oura Ring over the last few years, and it's fantastic that they're expanding into Target for a number of reasons. One, obviously, it's going to help them from a conversion standpoint. To have more eyes on the products at select retailers, Target retailers around the country. But I'm more interested in the increase in revenue that the company will make, and then how they put that into R&D for additional sensors within the device as well as enhanced software. Namely, I'm most interested in recovery and how I can use that information to know when I can sort of continue to push and when I need to say, okay, time to take a break. That's the one thing that I don't really monitor that well on my Apple Watch, and I kind of need to figure out how to do it on my Apple Watch, or I need to go and spend money on Oura Ring or Whoop or one of these sort of alternatives. One caveat for the Oura Ring, similar to Whoop, there is a subscription model. It's about $5 a month, so not the end of the day, expensive cup of coffee. But for those that are using the Oura Ring, let me know what you think of it, how you use it, what you like about it, what you don't. Closing out the news, we're going to talk about Apple and their next iPad event. So for the event is scheduled, first and foremost, May 7th. It's called Let Loose, and it's going to be an online-only event. And just based on the image, it's going to be an iPad event, which has been long rumored for, the last 6 months, that we're going to see different form factors, iPad, iPad Air, iPad Pro. Likely, I'm guessing, based on all the rumors I've seen, it's more of a Pro and Air. What I'm most kind of excited about is I've got a generation ago's iPad Pro, and I like it. It's got an okay keyboard, but no mouse pad, and I never upgraded. And for the last little bit, I've been debating, do I wait and see what comes out, or do I just buy the current sort of model, which has the elevated iPad through a case and a trackpad like experience. So very similar to a laptop. For me, I can do, I would say, 75% of what I need to do on an iPad, and I like the form factor. I also like the fact that I could carry 2 devices, and I like the fact that iPads are smaller, so when I'm on an airplane, I actually can get work done on an iPad, whereas a laptop just doesn't fit in that sort of like small seating, especially if someone leans back. So I'll be very interested to see what Apple comes out with. If it's fantastic, amazing, I'm probably going to get it. If it's more of just like better screen, sort of looks the same but tweaks, I'm just going to go to Best Buy and buy the old model and save myself some money there. All right. So that wraps it up for news around what's going on with tech around the world. And now let's focus on a deep dive on a company called Sendbird. I specifically want to focus on this because, as I mentioned on the show, I'm heading out to San Francisco, and I wanted to highlight some of the companies on the West Coast that I was excited to hopefully cross paths with some of their team while I'm out there. So a little bit about Sendbird. It's a conversational platform that powers engagement and apps over chat, voice, and video. They are building the most scalable and powerful chat API in the world with a massive built-in connections in the digital world. Conversations have always been the way people build relationships and get things done. And our goal, meaning Sendbird's, is to put the power of conversations in the hands of every developer and brand by making apps more social through chat, voice, and video. When I, checked out Sendbird and kind of their features, there's a whole, list of fantastic features. But if I was to talk about sort of the top 5, top 6 that I'm most excited about, the first is, of course, their own custom AI chatbot. And so you can build a custom GPT on your website and mobile app and have it automate, engage, market, sales, support, and you can kind of select your large language model and then make tweaks of it. And I haven't used it yet, but just watching the videos, which I've linked in the LinkedIn post. So if you go to the digital 3D newsletter, you can actually watch it. It's just a really interesting and simple UI UX experience, and so I kind of want to play around with it after watching the video and learning a little bit about the company. The next is omni-channel business messaging. So it allows you to engage with your users and define sort of pre-built user flows across SMS, mobile push, WhatsApp. And I think that's really fantastic, specifically for e-commerce retailers. There is a customer service and live chat support, which you would think is only tiered to retail and consumer products, but it actually could be applicable for finance or healthcare. I think on the website, they very much emphasized more of a finance function for like bankings, I'm guessing, and other financial institutions. But I just like the fact that they've got the ability to help you with live chat support, and there's obviously some sort of fantastic UI UX experience on the other side for users, in terms of the support roles to have in their cockpit. It also integrates with Salesforce for a direct connector, but one would assume that if you did a little bit of working, you probably could get it working with other service desks, i.e. ServiceNow, Dynamics, etc. And then the other thing that I thought was really interesting was chat moderation tools for online communities. Not necessarily something I would have thought would be required or needed, but I totally get it in this world where, brands want to, engage with consumers, but they need to do it in a safe manner, and they need sort of the check and balance of that. And so this allows you to do some of that. So if you're less familiar with Sendbird, go have a look at their website. I've linked it in the show notes over on LinkedIn. And have a look at some of their videos. I was pretty impressed with them. I thought they did a nice job of just articulating their value prop and showcasing their solution, obviously geared towards anyone in the sort of retail consumer business, but there are tons of use cases that could be applicable from any other sort of services business and financial business potentially. So highly recommend, after watching a few videos, taking a look at it if you are in one of those industries and you're looking to engage with your customers in a more seamless manner. Okay, so moving right along with the show, I want to talk about where we can connect in real life and online. So the first is what I mentioned when I'm going to, or the reason for going to San Francisco. And so we've got a fantastic panel discussion with friends of the firm, are really good folks over at Making Sense. And we're going to be talking about value creation. The event is Thursday in and around the San Francisco area. If you want to know more about the event, DM me on LinkedIn and I'll shoot you over more information. But of course, we've got it linked in the show notes. Next month on Lewis Manning, we have the executive briefing series, which is a virtual roundtable. We've got half of your employees are looking for a new job and why and what you can do. So the panel will focus or be with Kimberly Sherman Evans, Chris Martin, and Michael Pearson. And that will be on Wednesday, May 25th at the new time. We're kind of experimenting those at noon Eastern. And then right up behind that, we've got DealFest coming up that I'm very excited for. Been doing a lot of prep and work for that. That's going to be in Boston on June 6th. That's a full day event, deal review, cocktail hour, dinners, etc. We're going to be hosting a cocktail event June 5th at a location that we have not announced yet, but we have locked in. And so stay tuned for next week where I will share a little more about where we're going to have our cocktail event on June 5th. And if you would like to attend, send me a message. Closing out the show, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We're on LinkedIn, of course. If you are social, check us out on Instagram and X. And if you want to connect with me, I am on LinkedIn. That's linkedin.com/in/Reed Dailey. That's ReedDailey. You can check me out on Instagram and X if you kind of are a social person. And look forward to running into folks in San Francisco this week. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you on the next episode of the Digital Deep Dive Show.